Hey, how's everybody doing? Hey, so check it out. A couple of nights ago, I went on Instagram Live. That's Instagram at Ryan Farish, and I started this song from scratch. I just it was totally blank, and I pressed go, and I was just excited to see what would happen. It was a lot of fun. So earlier today, on my Facebook page, I was working more on this track, and then I took a little bit of a break. And so I just thought, all of us are home right now. Most of us are, for sure. And, many times over the years when I'm making music, it was always a lot of fun to have friends and, people in the studio with me while I was creating music and we were making music. And so what I'm excited about with this is sort of like that. We're hanging out together. I'm inviting you guys in, and I'm just want to thank everybody. I see some folks joining, and I just want to say how much I appreciate you spending a few moments with me here. And yeah, so it's exciting because we're starting a track from scratch, and no one's heard it but us yet, and that's just really cool. So so earlier today, before I took a break, what I had done, just to kind of give you a recap, is the song started with just this part right here. So then this was the next part that came in right here. So it started to give it a bit more movement and motion. And so what I like to do is mix a track simultaneously as I'm creating the track. Of course, in the end, I go back and I just dedicate some time to finish the final mix. But so where we're at right now is this track is still in development. I'm still arranging it. There's probably some parts, we'll see where the music takes us, that I'll lay onto this track right now. But so what's going on is I'm tracking, and I'll be mixing simultaneously, and I'll try to share what I'm doing as we're going through it. So thank you so much. Let's hang out. Come on, let's do it. There we go. Get that hi-hat in louder. And let's take a look at that for a moment. Let's put a bit more delay on that. Give it a little bit more movement. I'm also going to throw Another one of my favorite tools, it's by Universal Audio. It's the V76 Preamp. And so watch what happens when we start to drive this a bit. Oh yeah, comes right to life. I think we need to back off this delay a little bit now again. It's kind of hanging around too long. Here we go. For the bass as well, let's go ahead and put that V76 on it as well and bring it to life. Oh yeah. Oh, that's nice. Let's let the track play a little bit more and see where this arrangement is taking us. Like right here, I feel like it's worth it to experiment with seeing if we put some Moog on this. We'll sort of see if we can, I like to think of music in many cases like colors. And so it's all about like sort of creating sort of the right palette of colors. And those are sounds that I'm choosing that all work in harmony, that will create sort of a mood and a feel that can just be good vibes and like take us places, right? So what I'm going to do here is okay, so we're going to experiment, and I'm going to use Universal Audio 6176. It's a tube preamp and a compressor. I'm hearing a little noise right now, but it's okay. We're going to tweak that. So let's just experiment and see what we get. That's nice. All right, so that was fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pan that over here for a moment. We're going to duplicate a track, and we're going to move the new track over here to the left speaker. Bring this guy down in volume, and then we're sort of, we can see if we can get like a counterpoint melody going, something interesting. Let's see where that volume's at, though. That's cool. So, all right, so now let's work on something else to go along with that. So I'll just loop the track around for a moment and I'll just kind of see what's going on. Turn this compressor off for a moment to get rid of that noise. Okay, now let's listen back. That's nice. Keep mixing with that for a little bit and see where that goes. Right now what I'm doing is, it's called hyper drawing, and I'm going into one of the other synth tracks. This track was made with Silent. It's a virtual synth, letting me know that there's a newer version available. That's great. We'll look at that later. And so with hyperdraw, what it enables me to do is it enables me to use automation so that I can bring this track, the volume, I can sort of gradually increase it and bring it up to where I want it to be, so it's not conflicting with the other two parts made with the Moog here while that's going on. And also while I'm in this hyperdraw area, I'm going to fade out the other two so that things kind of, as these two are kind of going out, this new one is coming in, and hopefully that'll sound pretty cool. This plugin right here is the Greg Wells Piano Centric. I'm pretty sure it was designed for using mostly on piano parts, but I found this particular setting that I've created with it works really well for specific sounds that I use and that I've created on my Moog. This one and this one over here. So anyways, I'll show you, you can hear it with it and without it. So here is. So you can really sort of thin it out and then sort of give it a more rounded sound on this side here. It also has a built-in delay and a built-in doubler, which really just kind of adds to the character and sort of the overall dimension of the sound. So it works really nicely. I've never really used it for piano, but I find it very useful for synthesizers. so now like let's take a look at, because we're still in sort of the foundation of this track, and as I'm working on the arrangement and mixing, I'm going to address the kick drum for a moment, because the kick drum is just so important. And let's see, what do we want to do? Okay, so I'm going to grab this tool. It came out recently from Softtube. They're one of my favorite sort of plug-in companies. It's the Chandler Limited Germanium compressor. So let's give it. We'll start with the preset center pusher. There we go. Look at that. So if you're wondering about compressors, compressors basically take a sound and they squash it, they compress it. And there are lots and lots of compressors, and they all tend to have their own color and character. I, in many cases, will use multiple compressors on all the time on the stereo bus, and not using multiple compressors on one channel, but definitely on the stereo bus. And the stereo bus would be like where you've got all of your tracks, and you mix all of you down to the 2-track master, which is 2 tracks being your left and your right ear, and that's what you're listening to when you're listening in stereo, when you're listening on headphones. So this compressor I really like because it's a little dirty sounding, and it has a switch actually that says dirty compressor. And it just gives things a little bit of grit and a little bit of vibe that other compressors that are super clean, for me, don't tend to give me. A great example of this, the difference in this, is another one of my go-to compressors all the time would be the Ssl compressor. This particular version is Universal Audio. It's a very clean compressor, and it does an amazing job. But again, it's very clean, so what I've done on the master bus right now is I'm using the Ssl, and I'm also using the Chandler Limited Germanium compressor. So I've got sort of the clean compression that I'm looking for dialed in, and then I'm adding a little bit of stink to it with the Germanium. So it's fun stuff. All right, so we've got that kick sitting better. Let's let the track keep going. All right. So we really need something there, and perhaps that's a better place for this. We'll go back and we'll listen to it like from the beginning later, and that's how we'll be able to feel like if that in fact is actually the right place to drop that in. But I think right here, so now it's getting a bit more exciting. Here's a part I added earlier on the Facebook live stream. If you want to see this track from the very, very beginning, and then from, I guess, chapter 2, the very beginning is on my Instagram, and chapter 2 is archived on my Facebook, and all of that's Ryan Farish. And just thank you guys so much for hanging out here. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's staying safe and well. I know it's kind of tough. We're all, many of us are, just kind of hanging out at home and stuff. But hopefully, you're having a good time, just sort of hanging out with me here, and at least for right now. And I just am really grateful for you guys watching and just spending some time with me, because it's a lot more fun having you guys in the studio with me here doing this than if it's just me by myself. So let's do this. So here's the drum part that I did. what I'd like to do now on this, as we're continuing with mixing, as I'm producing and arranging this out, I'm going to go, Plugin Alliance is my absolute favorite plugin manufacturer, company, distributor. They carry a lot of amazing tools from a lot of great developers. And one of these is the Transient Designer. The transients are basically like the attack of a sound. So like if you can think about like when you hit a drum, or like when you clap your hand, if you were to look at that on the computer screen, the recording of that, you would see the big like wave, and it would look like this, and then it would kind of go like that. So what the Transient Designer allows me to do is it allows me to sort of focus in on that transient, either make it more pronounced or less pronounced. But what I'm going to it for right now is I want to be able to work with the sustain of that transient, so, or of the sound. So give you an example. Here it is. So I'm going to be like really dramatic here for a second. See, it's really tight now. See? Turn it off. You hear a room sound in there now, and it breathes more. But I'm not necessarily sure we want this breathing that much with all of this other percussive stuff going on right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to dial that into taste, like this. We're going to adjust the attack a bit. That's nice. You see with it, without it. See, it's kind of boomy. Now with it, we're great. You need to probably do a little bit more. That's too much. So one of the things that I love about working with Logic, a lot of software that you can record with will allow you to do this. Logic does it very, very well. So right now the beats per minute is 99. So that's the tempo, that's the speed in which the song's moving. But about this point in this track, I'm starting to question if 99 beats per minute, which is where it began, is exactly where I want it to stay. Because it may feel a little bit better if we speed it up. So what we can do is we can save our work, and so we're at 99. Let's experiment with moving this up to maybe 102. My goal is perhaps to get it as fast as 110, but it might feel really off if we move it that much. So let's try it. All right, it sounds fine. Okay. That bass drum, where did it go? Let's grab that. Still feels good at 105. Move it very slowly and see how it feels. right at about 108 beats per minute, I started to feel like you really could feel it, like it was moving a lot faster. But this can trick me sometimes. See if you feel the same way. If we give it just a second and we're not listening to it, then we go back and we play it, and it may not feel so sped up to us anymore because we got used to a clock, you know, and going one tempo, and then we sped it up. We really felt it. But let's just see, giving it a moment. All right, here we go. Maybe we'll start from here so we're not. Yep, so it seems to me that about 105, 106 might be perfect. That's nice. There we go. Good. Feels good. Putting this effect here, what I'm going to do is grab, this is by Waves. It's this really cool little plugin that kind of simulates the effect of if you were pumping like a sound through a compressor, and it's like if you could think of it as sort of like a pumping effect. There it is. We'll EQ that a little bit so it's not so harsh. And this right here, sort of top end sort of lead pan drum going on here. I think it would sound great with some delay. Let's do this. There it is. Now it has some dimension to it. It's really like, it's gonna sing and echo. Hear that? Beautiful. So. This synth over here to the left speaker more, making room for that lead pan on the right speaker. Let's play around with some more percussion here, because this is a very percussive track, and just have some fun here. Okay, that's kind of interesting. That might work. Let's try it. Something interesting. All right. Let's try to mix that in and see what it sounds like. Let's see where we have some space in the mix. Left, right, maybe in the center. We'll see where it goes. Start to EQ this a bit. There it is. now I'm hearing, and this is really the fun part, like just kind of like letting the song sort of guide you to each step, and you know, it's so interesting. Like it always has fascinated me, like songs, you know, it started with this, just like playing that, and then we landed this. So much fun, so much fun. All right, so let's go here. Let's find like this, some drums. All right, so now this is gonna, sort of my vision for this is, at first it's not gonna sound anything at all like where it's gonna end up sort of sounding like, but at first I'll just lay down the drums, and then with some big reverb and some effects, it's gonna give us this really sort of pumping kind of cymbal air. So stay tuned for a moment. It's gonna take a second, because I first have to just kind of lay it down basically. Let's see where we get. So we're going to overdub over top of that. Together, and now let's go back and grab two of my favorite tools again, Replica by Native Instruments, and then before that let's throw that, it's called a one knob pumper from Waves, onto this, and let's just listen to the cymbal for a moment and see where we're at. So I already know I'm going to grab this EQ. Okay. So for me, like what I'm hearing in here right now is these cymbals are kind of giving me sort of like that sound of, it doesn't sound like rain, but it's kind of, it's giving me that feeling of sort of like rain kind of washing over the top end of this track. And that may turn out to be very cool and just what this track needs. So let's go ahead and put it all the way there, and let's go ahead and put that Universal Audio V76 on this guy again, because we just want a little vibe. And so yeah, we're just experimenting that, and that's the fun part about this is so you watch as we move this EQ around, it's going to have a very bold effect on what the sound feels like. So it's not just about cleaning up the track or EQing it to surgically make it all work together. There's also the stylistic ingredient, the color palette that you're using these EQs to do, to give you different tone, to bring out or bring down different tonal qualities of the instruments. So check this out. So that's very dark. That sounds good. So now without it, look at that. So now we'll listen to it again, and now we'll reintroduce those cymbals that I just laid down, and we'll see what kind of effect it has. Let's get in the mix. That percussion from before. Woo! So now in this section here, let's see where we go back to from here. All right, so I think it might be fun. Let's grab this right here and let's try something. Violin in it. Let's see what happens. We won't know unless we give it a try, right? All right. Okay, and let's put my favorite plug-in replica. All right. You know, I'm going to go a different direction. That was not, it's just not hitting. All right, let's see. Let's go up here. Okay. Let me try this sound. This might work. Okay, here we go. Let's experiment with this. work that out for a moment. And for those who might want to know, this is Spire, the virtual synthesizer I'm working with here. So it's like what I'm doing here is I'm duplicating this synth part. And then what I did was I duplicated it, and the new one is an octave higher. So a bigger. So pan that out a little bit. And just for me, my personal taste, I always like to instruments that might be more instruments that are kind of integral or grounding to the melody of a song, which this song really, we haven't even worked on the melody yet. We're just building the foundation, I guess, at this point. But I like to have those sounds and instruments more panned to the left, and sort of things that are more dimensional or more airy or sort of something that you'd want to feel at a further distance, I pan that to the right. And the reason for that is, you know, when you're listening in headphones or if you're listening at home, you may not feel what it is that I'm trying to achieve with that, but when you listen to it in the car, you think about it. In many cases, you're driving, you're in the car, you're in the left side, you know, if you're in America, where I am, and you know, things that would be closer to you are going to come out of your left speaker, right? And so things that would be further away from you are going to come out of the right. And so that just kind of inside the vehicle, it kind of moves it sort of more where you want it to be. At least that's how I feel that works, and I enjoy it. So now, going back to the beginning, I'm going to experiment here with a tongue drum sound. Very nice. So we might just want to, right here, we'll experiment. Probably not the spot. Maybe here. There it is. For some reason, that's just coming to mind. So let's lay it down and see how it sounds, and we can always remove it if it doesn't work in the end. Very cool. So that might have been worth doing, because it's like interesting to me. That's like adding an entirely new thing that I'm just really getting into here. So perhaps I'm thinking, take this out there. We won't introduce it that early on in the track, but we'll kind of save it for later. So hey, how are you guys doing? I think I'm going to take a break here in a little bit, but I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me for a little bit here today. I hope you're enjoying the studio experience with me. And please hit the like button if you're enjoying this. And I can't see the comments right now. I'm filming this with my phone and it's too far away, but I promise I will go back and read the comments. So please leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. And thank you guys so much for, if you're subscribing to my channel, I just want to thank you. And I hope you guys are safe and well. These are some really strange times for all of us, but we'll get through it, hopefully, and yeah, we'll definitely get through it together. So thank you so much, and to be continued. I'll see you soon. Thank you.